were very strong in beating Malaysia in football yesterday. So here are the Malaysians who hosted the last Southeast Asian Games in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
The Malaysia delegation is composed of 1,076 athletes and coaches and coaching staff. And last 2017 SEA Games, they took home 323 medals with 145 golds, 92 silver, and 86 bronze medals. They've become part of the SEA Games in 1959.
Here is Malaysia, one of the more progressive states in the ASEAN region, and if under the leadership of Prime Minister Mahathir, who is back to govern the people of Malaysia. And in terms of the economy of Malaysia, Malaysia is one of the fastest growing economies, not only in Southeast Asia, but Asia.
We also have Myanmar, who has a delegation of 952 athletes and coaches and staff. Last SEA Games, they brought home 37 medals with 7 golds, 10 silvers, and 20 bronze medals.
You know, when you talk about Myanmar, formerly Burma, over the past 5 years, we have seen its the normalization of the country into a democratic state, and we have seen that the youth of Burma are considered to be among the rising power in sports in ASEAN. And if you talk about which sports which they do very well, I could remember when I started covering the Southeast Asian Games in the 80s and all the way to the 90s, they have been very dominant in athletics or track and field. They dominated the middle distance and the long distance races. So Myanmar is expected to be among the favorites for athletics. And aside from athletics, they are also very strong in soccer and in other sports like the combat sports. You talk about judo, you talk about pencatsilat, Muay Thai, which is becoming very popular not only in Myanmar but also in.
Now let us welcome the Singapore delegation, composed of 1,591 athletes and coaches. Last SEA Games, they brought home 188 medals with 57 golds, 58 silver, and 73 bronze. In 2015 edition, they were the host of the Southeast Asian Games.
You know, just a correction. Earlier, I thought it was Indonesia. I called it out as Singapore, but we would like to make that correction because they have the same color of flags and even the pati yung kanilang mga damit. But when you talk about Singapore, it is very strong also in swimming. And if you talk about swimming, one of their swimmers is Joseph Schooling, the first ever winner of gold in swimming in the 100-meter butterfly, if I could remember that. And he beat no less than Michael Phelps in the Rio Olympic Games. So you have Singapore expected to do very well in swimming, and hopefully they will do very well also in other sports, to include the football, which is also a national pastime in Singapore. So, marami tayong mga kababayan ngayon na nanonood sa opening ceremony, and I think with what we have seen with the presentation before the Parade of Nations, there is every reason for us Filipinos to be proud of the ceremonies that we have here at the Philippine Arena. Thailand, alam mo, kapag pinag-uusapan natin ng Thailand, it's one country that has won the overall crown several times. And they are very dominant in track and field and even the combat sports. So if you look at track and field or athletics, a big chunk of the medals that they have won in so many international competitions has been traced to track and field. And when you speak about volleyball, they have been very dominant for both men and women's volleyball.
Right. And Thailand is also one of the biggest threats to the Philippines when it comes to the newly introduced sport, which is the esports. And of course, it's also nice to note that Thailand has one of the biggest delegations this edition of the Southeast Asian Games. They're composed of 1,473 athletes and coaches and staffs. And last Southeast Asian Games, although they are not the host, they took home 246 medals with 72 golds, 86 silver, and 88 bronze medals. They actually were the second to finish behind Malaysia.
When you talk about Thailand, Thailand has always been a major force in the Southeast Asian Games, and with the inspiration that is being provided by the royal family to the athletes of Thailand, you could expect them to gun for the overall crown. Thailand, one of the most progressive states also in ASEAN in terms of the economy. We have seen their economy sustaining a very long period of economic growth. And Thailand has been a major destination for Filipino tourists, especially in areas like Phuket and Pattaya.
Also Bangkok.
So
they're very much enjoying the parade. You can see the blood on their faces. And we will see more of them in the coming days as they compete to the 529 events here in the Southeast Asian Games. Of course, we have 56 sports, and this is the highest number of sports in SEA Games history. And we're also estimating 8,750 athletes and team officials. And let's see how Thailand will perform in this edition.
When you try to look at today's opening ceremonies and the number of athletes for every contingent, you can see how the population of ASEAN has grown over the past 15 years. Timor-Leste, formerly a part of Indonesia, is the 11th member country of the Southeast Asian Games Federation. And we expect them to do better compared to their last performance in Kuala Lumpur, which was of course won by Malaysia for the overall count. So we're all very close to our brothers from ASEAN. And if you look at the history of the Philippines, the earliest migration have shown that we have our brothers from Indonesia and Malaysia traveling in several waves to discover the southern part of the Philippines. So Timor-Leste expected to improve their performance in the last Southeast Asian Games.
In connection to what you mentioned earlier, Timor-Leste is actually became a member of the SEA Games in 2003, very young. And last Kuala Lumpur Games, they only took home 3 medals, 3 bronze medals. And this edition, they've sent 221 delegates here in the Philippines.
Vietnam is a country that has become a major power in sports. And if you look at the sports where they dominate in the last Southeast Asian Games, they were number 1 in athletics. They're also very strong in swimming. They're also strong in the combat sports. And if you talk about the combat sports, you're not just talking of karate, taekwondo, or judo. You have also wrestling. So we expect that the Vietnamese brothers will perform very well in this Southeast Asian Games. Vietnam, the top performing economy in ASEAN this year, and we have seen that our Vietnamese brothers love the Philippines. And if you look back at history, right after the Vietnam War, there has been the Philippines has been hosting a lot of our Vietnamese brothers who were trying to flee Vietnam at the time in a post-Vietnam era, and a lot of them lived in Bataan and Palawan before they were able to migrate to the United States. So Vietnam hoping to top the overall crown in the 30th Southeast Asian Games. So they're very close to us.
Vietnam is actually the 2021 host. They'll be the host in the next edition of the SEA Games, and they're sending 890 delegates to this edition. Last Kuala Lumpur Games, they took home 168 medals with 58 golds, 50 silver, and 60 bronze medals, and they finished third in that edition.
So Vietnam, one of the favorites to win the overall crown in the 30th Southeast Asian Games, and we are now waiting for the entry of the Philippine delegation. More than 1,000 athletes. Look at our people, our countrymen, waving their flags in greeting the member states of the Southeast Asian region. And now here is the Philippines. This is a time for all of us to be proud that no less than President Rodrigo Duterte, together with Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah, welcoming the Philippine delegation, which of course is expected to gun for the overall crown. You know, the first time we won the overall crown was in 2005. We started competing in the Southeast Asian Games in 1977, and then in Manila in 1981. When in 1991 was also a good year for the Philippines when we hosted it. We lost the overall crown by just one gold medal, but then in 2005 we won the overall crown. But since then, somehow we found that we may have lost the fire in the training to go for the gold in previous Southeast Asian Games.
I'm actually having chills right now watching our delegation parade in the Southeast Asian Games, and of course seeing our countrymen waving their flags, supporting our athletes. Of course, our flag bearers are Heidelin Diaz, Olympic silver medalist for weightlifting, Marjeline Vidal for skateboarding, EJ Obiena, of course, our Olympian for pole vault, Nesty Petesio and Yumir Marshall for boxing, and of course Kiyomi Watanabe for judo. And later we'll see our torch bearer, Senator Manny Pacquiao, who will be lighting the torch or the cauldron for the Southeast Asian Games. Philippines actually ranks 4th in all-time SEA Games medal table with 3,351 medals, wherein 918 of those are gold, 1,076 are silver, and 1,357 are bronze medals.
You know, this is a time for all of us to come together as Filipinos and feel proud and cheer our athletes as they give their best shot to win a gold medal for the Philippines. And, you know, I'm very confident, Angel, that in these games, with a new generation of Filipino athletes being witnessed by our people, we will see gold and glory happening and recapturing what we have lost in past Southeast Asian Games. You know, one particular sport where I hope we will do very well are swimming and, of course, athletics. Because at one time, when you talk about swimming, in 1991, we won 11 gold medals, courtesy of, you know, Eric Buhain with 6 gold medals. You have Akiko Thompson, you have the Concepcion brothers, Nahera, and even Ryan Papa. Another sport is athletics, and athletics is hoping to make a run for at least 5 gold medals and relive the glory days of the Philippines when we had Lydia De Vega, who was Asia's fastest woman. We had Renato Del Prado. So with the Obiena, who qualified for the Olympic Games, is hopeful that he will win the gold medal in pole vault. See the president waving to our athletes, and with the support of the president and millions of Filipinos all over the country, cheering for our athletes, you can expect that we are going for the overall crown.
Philippines also has the highest number of delegation with 1,115 athletes and 753 team officials and coaches. And they'll compete on our 56 sports with 529 events in this SEA Games.
Alam mo, looking at the Sultan, clapping for the Philippine delegation and looking at President Duterte, I mean, the Sultan or the King of Brunei has developed a very close friendship with our President Rodrigo Duterte. Look at their uniforms. Nakita mo yung color nila, no? It's a Philippine flag. There's not one Filipino who is not happy with the celebration that we're having here, and they will rally behind our athletes. Talk about how many events in this particular
529 events.
520 events, and you're talking of 56 sports. And esports, which is being introduced for the first time, is going to be one sport where the Philippines is expected to do very well. The president feeling nakakasayang president I mean, after coming from the celebration, delivering a speech at the celebration of Andres Bonifacio, you can see the president feeling proud as a Filipino, and we should all be proud of it, and this moment and the days to come ahead.
I'm just happy that Brunei actually pulled out, because they're actually the host for this edition, but they were awarded with the hosting right in 2012, but they pulled out last 2015 due to financial and logistical reasons. And I'm just happy to be seeing this opening ceremony. It's actually giving me so much chills right now. I'm kind of teary-eyed watching the athletes.
And you can see Senator
happen right before our
De La
very
Rosa
eyes.
is also there. Everybody's really dancing to the music that is being played, and everybody is enjoying the fun. And I'm sure that when our people will be going to the playing venues, makikita natin they will be there shouting Philippines, Philippines, and Philippines, and we should all shout for it. Another sport where I would like the Philippines to do very well is wrestling. In the past, Southeast Asian Games was not there, but the Wrestling Federation of the Philippines has committed to win at least between 10 to 13 gold medals, and that's a big chunk of medals that will contribute to our quest to win the overall crown.
We actually want to invite everyone to please support our athletes. We have games in Clark, in New Clark City Sports Village. We also have games in Subic Bay Freeport Zone. We also have games here in the Metro Manila, in Laguna, in Tagaytay, in Batangas. So there are lots of venues where our countrymen can attend and watch the games.
Carlos Yulo, gymnastics, winner of the gold medal in floor exercise in Stuttgart, Germany, is expected to go for not just one gold medal, which is the floor exercise. He opens the campaign of the Philippines in gymnastics in the all events. And, when you speak about gymnastics, if he wins his first event, which is all, that will involve different apparatus, it's a total of at least 7 gold medals for the Philippine team. That's the men's team. And another for the women's. So we expect the gymnastics will perform very well. The first gold medal could come from triathlon, which I think will be tomorrow or the next day. And remember that we are the defending champions in triathlon for both men and women. And based on the predictions of the president of triathlon, which is Mr. Carrasco, he was saying that with dual tone also, which is under his under his organization is that we might just win 4 of the 6 gold medals at stake.
You know, aside from athletics, I think we'll also do well in boxing.
Yes.
You know, in 2017, boxing actually gave us, I think, 3 gold medals with Nesty Petesio, Yumer Marshall. They're all set to defend their titles in the Southeast Asian Games. And also billiards. We'll be watching Efren Bata Reyes for one last time.
Well, one last time, and we will see the legend bring honors for the country. Bowling. It reminds me of Bong Ku and Paeng Nepomuceno in the 80s, dominating bowling in the Southeast Asian Games. And with a new crop, which they are training because they are the coaches, hopefully our bowlers will do very well also in the Southeast Asian Games. Shooting is another sport where hopefully there is going to be a resurgence for the Philippines. You know, Senator Recto's father, Rafi Recto, was a shooter. Together with together with his brother Ricky Recto, were members of the Philippine shooting team in the 80s, and they competed. Ricky Recto competed in the Asian Games in India. You know, another sports which hopefully will do very well is you talk about Taekwondo. Taekwondo could also be a very good source of medals for us. They are vying for 3 gold medals. And then you have also weightlifting. And of course, you have Heidelin Diaz, who will spearhead the Philippines campaign for gold medals. It reminds me also of Jimmy Sebastian, the most bemedaled athlete we have when it comes to weightlifting, wherein he dominated weightlifting for 3 Southeast Asian Games.
I'm actually learning a lot tonight. And aside from that, one of the most anticipated sports probably is basketball, which will be held in Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay City. And our team, headed by Coach Tim Cone, they'll be gunning for that gold medal, although they've actually been winning in the Southeast Asian Games, and they've won it in last edition against Indonesia, I think. And of course, the 3x3, basketball 3x3, which will be starting tomorrow in Phil Oil Arena. We do hope our countrymen will come out and support our athletes.
You know, this is a very simple opening ceremony, but if you look at the spectacle, how this has been prepared for and choreographed by Mr. Quintos, we can say that this we can be very proud of these opening ceremonies. Very unique, very timely, and it showcases the very best of what we are and who we are as Filipinos, to our shining for our brothers from the member states of ASEAN. You know, there's every reason for ASEAN to be proud, because despite all the challenges that it has been able to face over the past 30 years, ASEAN is now the fastest growing region, is one of the fastest growing regions in the world in terms of the economy. Because if you look at the economic performance of the member states, ranging from the Philippines, which has registered about 6.3, and hopefully maintain that for the rest of the year. The other countries are also growing at a very fast pace, like Singapore, Malaysia, and then Indonesia, Vietnam.
Now we're seeing Robert Sanya.
Welcome you to our beautiful country, a place where everyone wears a smile, with more than 7,000 islands like glimmering green diamonds, where you can find the mountains, hide behind the clouds, and kiss the sky. We welcome you to our beautiful country, with miles and miles sand and seas. It beckons you to keep returning to a place that keeps you yearning for a great adventure's burning in your heart and in your soul. Kay ganda ng Pilipinas, kay ganda ng Pilipinas. We say mabuhay, we bid you welcome. Come to our country, come to the Philippines. Kay ganda ng Pilipinas, kay ganda ng Pilipinas. We say mabuhay, come to the Philippines. We welcome you to our beautiful country, with miles and miles of sand and seas. It beckons you to keep returning to a place that keeps you yearning for a great adventure's burning in your heart and in your soul. Kay ganda ng Pilipinas, kay ganda ng Pilipinas. We say mabuhay, we bid you welcome. Come to our country, come to the Philippines. Kay ganda ng Pilipinas, kay ganda ng Pilipinas. We say mabuhay, come to the Philippines. Kay ganda ng Pilipinas.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Speaker of the House of Representatives and Chairperson of the Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee, Alan Peter S. Cayetano, together with a representative of the 8th District of Cavite and President of the Philippine Olympic Committee, Abraham N. Tolentino.
Faith without action is dead. Your Majesty, the Sultan of Brunei, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Your Excellencies, mga kababayan, Southeast Asian brothers and sisters, our athletes, magandang gabi, good evening, assalamu alaikum. We would like to express our gratitude, first and foremost, to the person who gave the go signals for the Philippines to host the 30th SEA Games, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Thank you, Executive Secretary Miguel Dia, Philippine Sports Commission, Philippine Olympic Committee. Thank you, Philippine Arena and Ka Eduardo Manalo. Thank you, SEA Games Federation, all national organizing committees. Thank you to our media partners and our sponsors for believing in us that we can do this and we can prepare in the 18 months given to us. Today, we put our faith in your hands, but we put actions into our faith. Today we gather as brothers and sisters, as a community of Southeast Asian nations. We gather as children of God, seeking to build a better world. Yes, building a better world, for we live in a world that is full of pain and suffering. A world where there's so much hunger and poverty. A world where lies and fake news take center stage. A world where corruption, crime, and illegal drugs are destroying the next generation. Yet we look at our athletes and we see the truth. We see strength, we see wisdom. We look at these young people and we see not only the athletes, but we see our own future. In them, we see passion, sacrifice, discipline, teamwork, and respect. Everything we need to build a better world. Today we stand tall and tell the world that in Southeast Asia, we are passionate. We are ready to make sacrifices. We are disciplined. We are believers in teamwork, and we firmly believe that everyone deserves our respect. Today, we stand tall to tell the world that in Southeast Asia there is so much diversity, but we do not fear because we have faith, because we have hope, because we put actions into our faith. And why? Because we love God. We love our community. We love our Southeast Asian brothers and sisters. And through that love, we pray as one, we build as one, we work as one, and we win as one.
President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Your Majesty, Sultan Haji Hassanal Bolkiah, and members of the royal family, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Cabinet, members of the Senate and the House of Representatives, other ministers of sports, officials of IOC and OCA, FISGOC and Philippine Sports Commission officials, different NOCs of ASEAN countries, officials of different international federations and national sports associations, host local government units, workforce, volunteers, dear athletes, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I'm honored to welcome all our delegates, athletes and sports officials from 11 participating countries in the 30th Southeast Asian Games. We also want to welcome to the Philippines all members of international media and all sports enthusiasts who have joined us here in the Philippine arena, and those watching in various parts of the country and the region as well. On behalf of the Philippine Olympic Committee, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to make this event possible. To our athletes, our National Sports Association, coaches, technical staff, our volunteers, as well as members of this organizing committee, you are now part of history. For more than a year, the preparation for the 30th SEA Games have been daunting and challenging, but your hard work and efforts are all worth it. You have all made our country proud. Now more than ever, I'm so proud of being a Filipino. Tonight is a defining moment for the Philippines as we showcase the best that the Philippines can offer. More than that, I can feel the strong competitive spirit in the hearts of our athletes, as well as the never-say-die attitude of the Filipinos to show the world a new face of the Philippines. The next 11 days will be eventful, historic, and full of exciting sports action. After 14 years, we are again hosting the SEA Games. The long wait is over. With unwavering support of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, we are now opening the best and the biggest SEA Games in history. We are also proud and excited to be part of this major milestone. For most people, athletes competing in any international event should have a do-or-die attitude, not only to bring home a gold medal for themselves, but also to bring glory to their respective countries. But beyond these competitions that will take place in the next few days, we also look forward to the power of sports to unify our region and our people despite our diversity in culture, race, and religion. Sports test our endurance and determination. Sports make us stronger. And yes, sports bring us together. As a community and as a family, we stand together, anchored in the spirit of hope, unity, and love for country. We can experience genuine victory without aspiring and working for lasting unity, not just in sports, but in our everyday endeavors. By the grace and guidance of the Almighty, we win as one. Again, I present to you the athletes and officials of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Welcome to the Philippines. Mabuhay. May I now request President Rodrigo Roa Duterte to officially declare the opening of the Games.
I declare open the Southeast Asian Games for the 30th time, celebrating the Games of Southeast Asia. Mabuhay kayong lahat.
Opening of the 30th Southeast Asian Games.
Ladies
We have
and
started to
gentlemen,
cheer for him,
the Southeast
knowing
Asian
that he
Games
has
Federation
inspired
flag is carried by
so many of our athletes and our people to look forward to a major spectacle. There is Lydia Di Vega,
for 8 years.
Asia's fastest woman, first won a gold medal, no, first won a 200 and a 400 meters in 1981.
SEA Games gold medalist.
That's Akiko Thompson.
7-time SEA Games gold medal.
Seven-time you know, I can remember Akiko Thompson when she first won her medals at a novice swimming championships, and she was only 9 years old. And there is Eric Buhain winning 6 gold medals in 1991. There you have Alvin Patrimonio, who was also a member of the Philippine team that won gold medals in the Southeast Asian Games. Paeng Nepomuceno, 2-time world champion, and has spearheaded the Philippines campaign in bowling. There is Bong Ku, who is now a coach. This must be a very nostalgic time for her and for all the other athletes that we have seen. You know, I've covered all of them during their winning ways, and here is Efren Bata Reyes, the legend when it comes to billiards. And Onyok Velasco, I was in Atlanta when he won a silver medal, losing the gold to Bushilov of Romania. So these are the athletes who gave the brightest moments for the Philippines in the South, not only in the Southeast Asian Games. There is Paeng Nepomuceno at age 19, the youngest ever to win the World Cup in bowling. So this is a great moment really to look back in time When I first started covering the Southeast Asian Games in 1981, I've seen their best and brightest moments. Lydia de Vega, for example, has dominated the 100 meters since 1983. And when she retired in 1993, when she before she retired, the last race she ran in the 100 meters, it was raining. Parang umiiyak ang panahon noon. And this was in Singapore, and she won the gold medal in the 100 meters. And Akiko Thompson, last time to perform in the Singapore Games. That was also the Singapore Games. And Eric Buhayan, I could remember him winning 6 gold medals, and other athletes in swimming in the 1991 SEA Games. This is the SEA Games flag.
This is the flag raising of the Federation flag of the Southeast Asian Games. And of course, it's interesting that, and it's also nice that the athletes or the Filipino athletes who won golds and given pride to the Philippines way back then is introduced in this opening ceremony, so that our young generation will also know that there are actually athletes or Filipino athletes who became who took home gold medals for the country way back before.
Alam mo, kapag natitignan natin yung ating mga kabataan ngayon, really gunning for a place in the national team, we can expect the future to be great for Philippine sports.
Darren Vitu, representing the officials, to take the Southeast Asian Games oaths.
We will now do the athletes and officials oath.
Francesca Altomonte at ang kumakatawan sa mga hurado, si Darren Vitu. Pangungunahan nila ang panunumpa sa Southeast Asian Games.
In the name of all the competitors, I promise that we shall take part in the Southeast Asian Games, respecting and abiding by the rules which govern them, committing ourselves to a sport without doping and drugs, in the true spirit of sportsmanship, for the glory of sport and the honor of our teams.
In the name of all the judges and officials, I promise that we shall officiate in the Southeast Asian Games with complete impartiality, respecting and abiding by the rules which govern them, in the true spirit of sportsmanship.
As one.
Kung aking wariin sinta ay naghihintay
Sumikap upang tayo di maghirap ang trabaho mo. Pagputi
Ladies and gentlemen, Apple the App!
Sa baryo, sa pangbato, pumunta ng LA, nagtrabaho para makatulong sa nanay dahil sa hirap ng buhay. Pero masaya pa rin ang kulay pag kumain, nagkakamay. Yung kanin, chicken adobo, yung balo binibenta sa kanto. Tagay mo na nga ang baso, pare ko, inuman na tayo. Filipino, 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 Filipino. Bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ang aking bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ang aking bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ay Filipino, 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 Filipino. Basta mo magagandang dalaga, nakakagigil ang beauty mo talaga. Lambingin din nakakasawa, ikaw lang ang gusto makasama. Yung bahay o kubo, pag ibig mo ay totoo. Puso ko'y laging tumitibok, wala kang katulad sa mundo ka mo. Pinoy ka sigaw na, sige. Kung maganda ka sigaw na, sige. Kung buhay mo'y mahalaga, sige. Salamat sa iyong suporta. Filipino, 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 Filipino. Bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ang aking bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ang aking bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ang aking bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ang aking bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ang aking bebo, 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 bebo. Ikaw ay Pinoy ka sigaw na, sige. Kung maganda ka sigaw na, sige. Kung buhay mo'y mahalaga, sige. Salamat sa iyong suporta, sige. Pinoy ka sigaw na, sige. Kung maganda ka sigaw na, sige. Kung buhay mo'y mahalaga, sige. Salamat sa iyong suporta.
gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the opening ceremony of the 30th Southeast Asian Games 2019. We win as one.
Mga kaibigan, maraming salamat sa pagsama niyo sa akin sa pagbubuhat ng seremonya ng ika-30 Southeast Asian Games 2019. We win as one.
Ceremonies where we as a nation have come together to showcase who we are and what we are as Filipinos. And for the next 11 days, we will see our athletes in their quest for gold and glory to win for the Philippines in the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Final word from you, Angel.
And of course, as breathtaking as this is, this fireworks display, we wish our athletes the best of luck, and we are praying and hoping that we'll be actually named as the overall champion after 11 days.
Well, as one final word from our end is, let us go to the different venues, cheer our athletes, and at the same time celebrate what we have as a people and as a nation. And I'm very confident that with you out there cheering for our athletes, we can see the very best happen, and that is becoming the overall champion of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. So in behalf of Angel Atienza, this is Freddie Abando saying thank you for joining us.
Who won the 100 and 200 meter.
5 goals for Eddie behind a very good play. Lighting of the sacred fire.
Witness sports history in the making as the People's Television brings you the grand staging of Southeast Asia's most anticipated athletic event, the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Catch all the action as PTV brings you around the country to 23 cities when athletes from all over the region compete for athletic supremacy. Cheer on our Filipino athletes as they chase the dream on home turf. Tune in to the exciting coverage on free TV via our 22 provincial stations nationwide. And be updated wherever you are via our digital portals. 30th Southeast Asian Games. Here on the home of champions, PTV.
Ito ang liwanag, lingid ng
May nais ka bang idulog na nangangailangan ng tugon mula sa pamahalaan?